There are many ways to enter a country, but for me, the truest doorway has always been literature. Because even when a story is made up, the way its characters speak, the land they walk, the fears they carry, that's where a nation reveals itself. And in Mexico, no map, no novel, no writer has done this more starkly, more hauntingly than Juan Rulfo. Juan Rulfo was born in 1917 in Sayula, Jalisco. And like all great storytellers, he didn't just recount his life, he crafted a myth about it. In interviews, some you can still find floating around on YouTube or Spotify, Rulfo embroidered his past into legend. He claimed his childhood was haunted. A murdered father, a broken family, an orphan boy forever wandering Mexico. Later, biographers picked apart that embroidery. Yes, his father was killed, but not by faceless guerrilleros, as Rulfo sometimes suggested. It was over a cattle dispute shot by the son of the local mayor when Juan was just 6. His mother died soon after, devastated by the injustice. The children ended up living in an orphanage in Guadalajara, which Rulfo often said it was more like a penitentiary. The only thing I learned there, he said, was how to feel depressed. And yet, even in that heavy silence, stories found him. The parish priest in his town had left behind a little library, and there, that orphan boy met Victor Hugo, Alexander Dumas, and even the cowboy dying novels of Buffalo Bill. Rulfo lost his family very early, but what he gained was something just as powerful, a language of myth, grief, and survival. And it's exactly that mixture that would one day transform into his unforgettable Mexico. In 1953, he published Llano and Llamas, 17 stories written not from above, but through the voices of the people themselves. Harsh campesino cadences, invented and real, that painted villages you'll never find on a map, but that feel as alive as any place on earth. Among them, Diles que no me maten, a chilling echo of a family trauma. No oyes ladrar los perros, a father carrying his wounded son through the night, perhaps in one of the most brutal short stories in Spanish. And Lubina, a town described so bleakly, it feels like a prelude to hell itself, but it's also the prelude to his masterpiece. That brings us to Pedro Páramo, the novel published in 1955 that changed Latin American literature forever. On the surface, Pedro Paramo looks like a ghost story. A young man travels to Comala seeking the father he never knew, only to find a town populated almost entirely by the dead. But this isn't just a tale of spirits, it's a deep reckoning with Mexico's soul. Comala itself is the real protagonist. The village's name, as Rulfo stated, comes from comali, the grill that we use to bake tortillas. But for him, this is a place scorched by memory and silence, a village set on the hot coals of the earth in the very mouth of hell. Comala is a purgatory. Time unravels here. The dead refuse to stay quiet. Rulfo originally wanted to call the book Murmurs, for all those restless voices. He said, time and space are broken because their work was done with the dead. But what makes Pedro Paramo essential isn't just its story, it's the way it shattered the rules. Rulfo's innovative mixing of living and death, past and present, real and mythical, didn't just influence how stories are told here in Mexico. It changed the way writers across Latin America approached fiction. Even Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the author of 100 Years of Solitude, said he couldn't have written his masterpiece without first reading Rulfo. Since its publication in 1955, Pedro Paramo's legacy has stretched across more than 40 languages. It's taught in schools, adapted into plays and films, and cited at the foundation of magical realism, a style that made the Latin American boom possible. If you want to understand the power of Rulfo's writing, listen for the voices in Pedro Paramo. They are not just whispers from the grave, they are the memories, wounds, and dreams of Mexico itself. One biographer even suggested that his father's murder was among the most consequential deaths in modern Mexican history. Perhaps this is a complete exaggeration, yet without that rupture, Rulfo might have never written. Rulfo died nearly 4 decades ago, but his stories are still murmuring like the death of Comala. If you never read him, start with a single short story of Llano and Llamas or dive straight into Pedro Paramo. Because within those slim pages lives Mexico, its wound, its ghost, its voices. and like all the best literature, it will never let you go. In scarcely 350 pages, Juan Rulfo created a haunted library that Mexico still carries inside.